Hello Goofy Goobers, welcome back to another tutorial. Today, lights, okay? Are you guys tired of shitty, garbage, neon, disgusting lights like this? I am. I'm sick of you guys doing that. We're going to be using V4 spotlights. You can use CHEDs if you want. This tutorial will not work with CHED lights. Those require a different thing. That's not my specialty. I only use VG lights. So spotlights are basically an in-game Roblox item, or not in-game, but it's this thing right here that projects out this light beam. And we like shoving that into our lights. Here, I'll show you. So basically, spotlights do this. This is a very over-exaggerated example because they won't exactly look like this. They'll look better usually, but basically they're like little light beams that like project light into like housings and stuff. It makes them look as if they're actually on. To further complicate things a little further, there's also surface apparent or like surface lights. I'll teach you what those all are. We're gonna follow the tutorial. So when you go into the description of this video, you're gonna get this delightful thing that I've made. I've basically taken the VG lights, I've just kind of simplified it and made it work for you guys. It's simpler and I think it's better. When you open it up, we have some things here. This is just so that you can understand the orientation of the lights. These are the lights that are facing backwards. These ones are facing forwards, right? These are headlights. We have turn signals in here. You have fog lights. You have your side lights. So you can delete this. Then you have your actual light script, which has all your wonderful lights. And then if you're doing pop-up headlights, which I am in this tutorial, it's all located here. You put your pop-up headlights into your MISC folder, and you take this code I added here, and you put that into your MISC weld. Then also, because I'm a delightful person, I've included the types of lights that you might want to use, already set up for you guys, trying to make it simple. We have the spotlight, which creates this circle light. And we have the surface appearance light, which creates this square. It's basically just whatever the surface you're projecting onto. And then if you do this to the same thing, see how it's still a circle? Well, this is the actual surface of the thing. That's basically the difference between them. It depends on what you want to do. I usually use the surface appearance lights for like squarish areas. So I'm re-recording this, but I would use it for like squares, and I would use the spotlights for circles. Like I don't think I have anything. I do. Like these here, I would use spotlights on the circle here, and you can combine them too. And then you put this thing into plugins. If you're doing pop-up headlights, you're gonna go into here. You can open it up, and click configuration. And you can just search for pop-up, and then it should be right here. And you can just set that to true. To install it, it's going to be the same way as in the video you're about to watch in the next segment. I'm re-recording this afterwards because I have simplified everything. The one that I use is very complicated and it doesn't look that nice. Alright, we're going to open up our slot car here. We have our little A-chassis folder, and we're going to go into our plugins. And we're going to go here, and we're going to take this thing right here, the Epic Lights V4, drag it into your plugins. Perfect. Alright, so if you're doing pop-up headlights, you're going to want to follow this step. If you're not doing pop-up headlights, don't bother with it. If you're not doing pop-up headlights, to delete this MISC weld folder. But if you are, keep it. We're going to go into instructions. We're going to scroll down. It'll say pop-up install. And scroll down to here where it says make weld. Copy those two lines of text. They're lines 50 and 51. Go back and go into your car, scroll down, go past initialize, click the drop down, and open up your misc weld, and paste it wherever. Okay, not wherever, but paste it under where it says weld stuff here. Some of you may have a bunch of other stuff here too. This is your other misc weld junk. Just try to not impede on other things. Just kind of what I would do is under where it says weld stuff here, just paste it there. And usually what I like to do is do dash dash pop-ups, just so I know what these are for future reference. Then go back into your car over here, and you're only going to do that if you're doing pop-up headlights. It's the only time that you're going to do that. If you're not doing pop-up headlights, don't do it. It'll break your car. Now, the fun bit. We are going to just scrape this all over. Doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to fix it on later. We're just going to just put it like this for now. And we're going to start. I like starting off with the rear lights, but you can start wherever. I'm going to start off with my brake lights here. I'm going to drag these down. Under lights, there'll be brake, right? I can click this button here, and we get these two bad boys. This is where our light beams are actually going to be projected out. Like, when you press on the brakes, you know, the housing lights up, but also there's light behind it. This is the light behind the housing, right? It'll be projected out back. So you're going to want to roughly move these. I like to just move them both at once, like this, and put them where your brake lights are. It's okay if this one's misaligned for now. I like just to line this first one. Push it out. You don't want it inside. You don't want it like that. You want it a little bit out, roughly about there. Go to your other one and just drag it in until they look pretty good. They don't have to be perfect. Mistakes are fine. It's almost impossible to tell unless it's a major mistake. But there, now these two will light up. But we want our housing here to light up too. So, basically, pick whichever light you think would work best for your housing. Mine's square. I'm going to take one of the square lights. And first, you want to set your brightness to just 40 for now. And also, if you don't see any light coming off of it, you might want to go into your lighting and change it to future. Now there should be light appearing off of it. Next, I'm going to rename the part to LN, like this, and I'm going to rename the surface light, or spotlight, depending on whichever you're doing, to LN_S. Next, I am going to just change the color to whatever I think would work best. I'm going to just start off with a nice middle ground red for now. Next, I'm also going to change the range to like 0.5. Range, you can change it to whatever you want. It's an art skill. You're going to understand. You sometimes want a shorter range, sometimes you want a longer range. You'll understand eventually. You can also mess with angle too. This will come later. For now, just leave it at 90. Make sure shadows is clicked off. You don't want shadows on. It'll cause lag and it'll look really bad. Leave it off. Next, we're just going to make our part here invisible, but there'll still be light. And we're going to drag our light towards our car. And you'll see, ooh, it looks really big. Now we're just going to kind of just scale it down to where we want it. Then you're also going to end up having to, you know, rotate it around. Usually I duplicate it here and just move it off to the other side for the other brake light. But you kind of rotate it a little bit and get that light projecting correctly into the housing. Sometimes it's going to go over a little bit. You want to shrink it. Make it look nice. You can shrink that too. It doesn't really matter. Now we run into some slight issues that you might see. Now we have light being projected up there into this little area on the rear fender. Now we can change this from 0.5 to like 0.2, maybe even 0.1. I'm going to do 0.15. That's going to project into the housing. Now I can rescale that ever so slightly. Then also this is a great time where you can change your angle to being however you want it. Angle 0 is going to be exactly how the light looks, which I might actually do here because I need some really precise lines. But other times you kind of don't want that. Again, it's going to depend. It's going to take time until you learn learn what looks good and what looks bad. It's a process. So that's that's your first brake light. Next one, we're going to do this exact same thing. Matter of fact, I'm actually just going to copy what I had here. I'm going to just duplicate it. And I'm going to set the orientation of this back to 0, so it's just facing the right way. And drag it over to this other side. I think I have it facing the wrong way, actually. There we go. Just drag it over to the other side and redo the exact same thing. They don't have to be perfectly aligned, but if you want your car to look good, spend some time getting these spotlights to look beautiful. So there are your 2 brake lights. You're going to copy them. I have one here. My other one is God knows where. Here it is. You're going to take these 2 and drag it into brakes. And you're going to open up the folders and set the brightness to 0. Make sure it's enabled. Just set the brightness to 0. Now what I like to do is for my reverse lights, or not my next, I usually do my rear lights, right? So brake lights are when you press on the brake. The rear lights are for when you have your headlights on. There's also rear lights that turn on. For your car, it's going to vary for the placement. For mine, it's literally the exact same as the brake lights. So I'm going to just delete what's in this folder and duplicate these and just drag it into rear. Next, we're just going to do our reverse lights. Pretty much literally the exact same setup. And you're going to do this for almost all of your lights. It's going to be the exact same monotonous setup. You drag your things in, push this around, push it over here. Now what's nice is that once you already have an LN with your LNS, you can just duplicate it and just drag it in and just recolor it. And just repeat the process. Usually on these older cars, I like to have a slight yellow hue to my reverse lights. I just drag it into place and I resize it. Perfect. They're gonna look really bright. Don't worry, it will not be this bright when you actually have it on. Those settings show you how all those work. I'm actually gonna do this on the other side too. Copy that, paste, bum, bum, bum. Perfect. So there's our reverse lights. So we're going to set the brightness to 0. Next, I go over to my indicators. I open up my left and my right, and I go to my rears, and I just drag these rears down. Apparently the rears are at the front on this thing, which is stupid, but it's however the guys made it. So we're going to take our turn signals that are at the front for some reason, drag them to the back, rotate them by 90. I usually have in my model tab, I just have rotate by 90 here. I just can select it on to rotate by exactly 90, and I just select it off to do my precise rotations. It's just something I like doing. And it's also the same thing why I have move 5 studs there. And we're gonna just drag these down, get them in a decent looking area. Those look decent. Now, what you can do is that on this Subaru here, these turn signals are slightly projected outwards because they face slightly outwards, so they're gonna be projected slightly outwards. So if you want to go that extra mile, you know, rotate them slightly, and they'll project out correctly. Other one can rotate it slightly, project out correctly, move it around, make it look fancy. These turn signals are gonna be a bitch to do because they're usually bigger than other lights, and they're gonna be slightly harder. But we're gonna just keep on doing the exact same thing. We're on the right side here. Yep. And we're gonna make this orange. And this is where your creativity and skill are gonna come into play. It's for these harder shapes that we're gonna be doing. So I'm gonna start off easy here. I'm gonna start with this first area here. I'm gonna drag it all the way over here. You see, it kind of cuts off. I mean, I can keep on trying to get it to project around this corner. I can keep on manipulating it and put it like there now. I'm gonna extend this out. Put that there, extend this out, and it's almost to the very edge. So that's gonna be probably the best for that. Then we're gonna duplicate it. We're going to make a little tinier version here to fill out this tiny little crack. We're going to rotate it a little bit. And we're also just going to try to even it out. But sometimes it just looks garbage like that, right? Because it doesn't look that great. This is when I sometimes like to put in some spotlights. So I'm going to grab a spotlight here. Gonna just rename it to the exact same thing, LNS, copy over my color, and color, brightness 40, and we're gonna put the 0.15, and I'm gonna delete the other one, and if I just kind of drag it into this corner here, we're going to increase the angle on that. And it fills out that corner pretty decently. Maybe we want to put one there and one slightly higher. And it looks pretty decent. Sometimes it is totally fair to just leave those. No one is going to really nitpick you on not filling in your corners properly. Some may. Those people always exist. I don't always perfectly fill in everything. Because, you know, lights do kind of drop off. But usually if you do something like that, it'll look pretty good. And what you can do is duplicate, I group, and then I rotate 180. I rotate by 90. And then I set my origin to 0. I just drag it over. And then I try to refit it roughly to where it looks good again. And we gotta move these spotlights back in. And this looks ass. We're gonna keep on turning and voila. Looks decent. Of course, you guys have more skill. You guys, I know, I trust you guys. You guys are intelligent. You guys can work your magic. You just gotta spend your time at trying to get these lights to look decent. And also, a cool thing about spotlights is that you can leave them in these model folders like this, and they'll totally be fine. They'll still work properly if they're grouped as models. Sometimes I do this just to sort out certain sections of lights. Sometimes I don't. I'm gonna ungroup these for now. Okay, ungroup. It doesn't like me ungrouping these for some reason, as you can see for some reason. We're gonna take our left light. We're gonna put this into our left section. We're going to. We would ungroup if we could, but Roblox is being a bitch. We're gonna ungroup these. You don't have to if you don't want to. I sometimes do, I sometimes don't. You'll see in those reasonings, or like why I do that. And set all these lights. Make sure you grab brightness, set them to 0, and just let them be. Next, we'll move over to our corner lights here. You'll see that there's the side marker, or the side lights. Grab my 2 side lights, gonna drag them down. Get them angled up decently. Drag this one out. Come to the other side. This is left or right side. Left side. Okay. Whoever made this package is not the smartest. But his left side, so you see how this is left indicator, right? This should be this side, right? This side. But it's on the wrong side for some reason. Make sure you swap these. Whoever made this was an idiot. It's always important to double check where everything is. Yeah, they did it again. Not exactly the best kit. I might throw in my own kit that looks better. I probably will after this video, because whoever made this kit originally, you made it really bad. I don't like it. It's too complicated for my mush brain. But anyways, these again are squares. I'm gonna copy my LN for my rear. I'm gonna come over here. I like to set the origin to 0 sometimes and just drag her out over here. Turn the brightness all the way up again. Push her out. Rotate it by 90 twice. Boom, boom. Bring her up. And then we scale appropriately. Now, if you see these edges, they're not really working too well, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the angle a little bit. I'm going to decrease the range because you can see it's kind of projecting onto the back metal there. So I'm going to decrease the range. And I'm just going to increase that. And voila. Now you have beautiful turn signals. I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to rotate by 90 twice. Drag it over to my other side. Plop her in there. She looks beautiful. Put that into the correct side. I'm going to double check on this side. And I can push that a little closer. There we go. They look good. Set the brightness to 0 again. Now we do our front turn signals. We're gonna copy my side turn signal. Why not? Copy that. Put that in our front. Never mind. We're not gonna do that. We're gonna take these two, the fronts. Put them to the front. We're gonna rotate them by 90 because whoever made this kit is an idiot. You guys won't have to deal with this. I will be fixing it. It'll look better. Push those out, make sure this one looks decent. This one, push it there, and then see how the signals are slightly orientated. We're gonna kind of turn these out ever so slightly. It's a slight bit of realism that people don't really do anymore. See it very rarely. The people who do this are cool people. I approve. And voila, perfect. Then we'll take whatever, put that wherever push it forwards, and you just repeat the process. It's the exact same thing over and over and over again. I'm going to increase the depth on this to probably 2. Looks better. Increase the size. I'm going to decrease the angle to 0 because I need to have some nice, precise, sharp corners. And we rotate this slightly to make it work the way I need it to work. Around, and voila, looks really good. And we're just going to take this, position or orientation 0, rotate it over here, and do the exact same thing again. Perfect. Now we have spotlights on both sides. Make sure your things are in the correct folders. This is my left side, goes into the left. And we're going to set the brightness to what? We're going to set it to 0. You always set it to 0. Now, this is where the tutorial is going to veer off into 2 different directions. We have the headlights, but I have pop-ups. I will show you both ways. Well, okay. You've followed the tutorial thus far. You know how it all kind of works. There's low and high beams. Usually, what I do is I delete the high beam lights. I do my low beams and I copy it and I paste it into high. Depending on what lights you want to turn on high, you can move those around. You guys are smart enough to do high beams and low beams. What some of you guys may struggle with is pop-up headlights. Now, I have a nice little folder that I've already made that have my pop-up headlights. Let's find it first. Bum 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 bum. Somewhere in here. Here it is. Here's my beautiful pop-up headlights. I never deleted the lights, so we're just going to delete those. And I can't delete because Roblox is being a bitch. Okay. So we have our pop-ups here. They look pop-up-y. Yep, they're pop-up headlights. Yep. So we're gonna leave them there. We're gonna go into our folder here, and we're gonna grab our pop-ups. Right, and it's gonna have this little hinge. We're gonna grab this, drag it to the front. I think I'm gonna have to rotate this. You guys hopefully don't have to rotate this. We'll discuss pop-up headlights and messing with them to make them work nicely. But we're gonna just drag it towards the front, kind of just push it around, push it there. Perfect. That's good enough for me. Grab your hinge. And what I like to do is I like to find where I'm going to have my lights hinge off of from. This requires some skill. You guys can make you guys know how to make openable hoods. I trust you guys can make pop-up headlights. It just requires a lot of trial and error. Usually I try to size it to one side and I kind of just put it into the middle. And I call it a day. Then I'm going to take my headlights here. Right, I'm going to take these pop-ups and I'm going to drag them into our parts folder. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this 5 studs upwards so I have working room. I'm going to adjust my actual light mesh, or my actual lights here, because I don't like them right now. They look kind of meh. So excuse me while I mess with this. Perfect, that looks decent. Alright, we have our lights here. Now, because these are circles, we are going to grab our spotlight. I already have a spotlight used on this car somewhere, so I'm going to just copy a spotlight I've already used. I'm going to drag it into our pop-ups folder under headlights. Now, we're just going to move this to the front. So just turning that off and turning off that. Move it to the front, move it up. And we're gonna turn the brightness all the way up. We're gonna change that to like 3 or something. We're gonna change that to like a nice yellowy color. Right, these are halogen lights. They're old. They're older than I am. I'm gonna rotate this. That's not what I wanted to rotate. I want to rotate this. And we're gonna tilt you up like that. One nice little flippy whippy. Move this to where we want it. Now headlights are always a struggle, at least for me. I usually start out with trying to go here. I kind of move in a little bit, and I decrease my range a little bit. And then I also like to go inside, like to rotate it backwards. So now it's projecting from the inside as well. It's going to project outwards. So it'll light up the inside of the light too. I'm going to make that larger. And I'm going to just extend this out to like 7. No, I'm going to leave that to how it was. And that gives it a kind of realistic glow. These I'm going to increase to like not that high. You don't want them going through the top. But you're going to look you're going to mess around, you're going to make them look nice. I trust you guys. You guys are smart. This is not a tips and tricks. This is just, we're going to learn how to do spotlights. Drag it around, try to make it look good. You guys will learn how to make spotlights look good one day. We're just trying to get through the basics here. Trying to get out of boot camp. Push that forwards, and that's good enough. Those are wonderful lights. They're uneven, but it's fine. I'm not taking my time on this. I'm trying to get a video out for you guys. Brightness, set it all to 0. Close them up. Make sure it's in the headlights folder. Next, we're going to go back to our actual car. We're going to copy these two. We're going to duplicate them, and we're going to drag them into our headlights folder. Now, if you're running pop-ups, delete this. Leave the folder, though. Leave the folder, just delete those if you're running pop-ups. If you're running normal lights, well, do it the other way. Do it the normal way, where we're not doing pop-ups. But now, we're going to take all these and put them into my lows. I'm going to group them first, and then I'm going to ungroup them now. Now I'm going to duplicate them. I'm going to put them into highs as well, because I used them twice. What the script is going to do is that when it's low, it's going to project all of those, and when it's high, it's going to add these on top of it. Usually I leave both to make sure highs have a brighter look. You don't have to. Now take your pop-ups, and you're going to drag it back down by 5. And it should sit back where it was. I have to make sure those actually were slightly downwards. Those were slightly off-centered. Okay, perfect. Bam, our lights are in. Now, there's one last thing, that's fog lights. Fog lights take another few seconds. My fog lights are, oh, okay, there's 2 things. My fog lights are squares, so I'm gonna find one of my squares. This one had one of my squares. This had a square. Put those into fogs. Set that to 0. That's on my rear for some reason. Okay, whatever. It's fine. You know, exact same process. Fogs. Drag them down. Put them where they are. You guys know the drill. You guys know the drill. Put them out. And we'll grab this. Again, I'm going to do a slightly more yellow look. I like having slightly more yellowy fogs. Push it in, see which way it's facing. It's facing that way. Rotate by 90. And I'm going to push it in. Now, because I have some... I'll show you guys a little trick that I like to do. Just to make them look a little bit more accurate. I'm going to increase the angle up a little bit. So it has a little bit of a softer tone. Which means I can decrease these ever so slightly. So what I like to do is when I have housings like this, it's not very realistic to just have light inside of your light there. If we have if we look at like Yoshida's 930 here, here, you see how his entire housing there is lit when in real life his housing looks like this. We're gonna make another light on our fog light. We're gonna duplicate it. I'm gonna rotate it by 90. I'm going to push it into that light like this, and I'm gonna just turn up the range to like 0.5. And now the rest of the housing is lit like it should be. I can move this back a little bit. Now it's all lit like in real life, because that's how it would look. That is something that you don't ever really see on slot cars because people don't do it. I suggest you should. It gives it a little bit more realism, looks a little nicer. Can sometimes be questionable, but it is realistic. Of course, you guys are going to have to play with that to find out what looks good and what looks bad. I'm, of course, just quickly trying to rush through this and make a video for you guys. There's our fog lights. Turn our brightness to 0. Now, I usually don't do reflectors. I've never really messed with those. I don't mess with interior lights. If you guys want to know how those work, I will make a tutorial for you guys. Just leave it in the comments. I can do these interior triggers. Just leave it in the comments. I usually don't mess with them because they're just a little too complicated, and they don't add enough for me to do them. But the last final one I'm gonna do are my plate. Usually when your lights are on, your plate is lit up, but right now it's not. So I'm gonna grab a spotlight. Usually I like grabbing spotlights for plate lights. I'm gonna just drag it into plate. Where is it? Plate. Now I usually don't put these L lights in plate just because it doesn't look correct. Just use spotlights, it's fine. We're going to orientate this to 0. Drag it to like here. And now, what I'm going to do with plate is I'm going to set this distance to like 1. I'm going to close that cone really bright and get a little bit of a yellowy color. And I'm going to try to get this to look like it's coming from my little lights here. So I have one that's coming from there. Now this is going to go a little further than that, so I'm gonna do like 1.32. That's like middle-ish. I'm gonna open up my cone, and that's kind of how our plate light is gonna look. I'm going to turn this out a little bit. No, I'm gonna leave it like that. I'm gonna duplicate. I'm gonna rotate by 90. Push it to the other side. Now our plate is lit up. Now, a little bit of extra detail. I like to duplicate it again, rotate it into the housing, and I like to sometimes shine on this little light here. You rarely ever see this, but the people who do this are cool. So I add a little bit of shine there, make it look pretty realistic. Of course, it is an art. It's going to take time to learn. I myself am not the best at doing spotlights. I do them. They look decent. They make me happy. They make others happy. You know, it's a process. We're all trying to learn here, right? I'm gonna rotate this one a little bit more like that. Push it around. And now it's shining on that, and it makes it look like those are actually like lit up too. Then I just turn those all off, brightness to 0. Now we're gonna take these lights and we're gonna drag them into body and leave them in body. Don't put them into another folder, just leave them in body. Close body. If you guys have pop-up headlights, take your pop-ups and put pop-ups into MISC. Now, you see, I was a doofus, and I forgot to actually put these into the correct area. You guys are smarter than me. I know you guys will do this properly. But you're just going to drag those to your spotlights. Rotate them so they follow with the lights. Again, I'm just rushing here, so. Don't be an idiot. Remember to do this. I was an idiot. I forgot. I forgot. Oh no. Bam. Duplicate. Bam. Perfect. Put those into low. Put those into high. And then delete that. Alright. Everything now should be installed. Go grab your this. Set it to night because we want to see our lights. We want to see how beautiful we did. We want to see the amazing job. So just set it to night. Spawn in and see what happens. You guys have no idea how long I've spent on this, but my pop-up headlights have been having a bunch of issues. I've recoded it. I deleted a lot of code. I made it work. It works nicely. I'm going to release a new version of the VG headlights. I don't like how the first person sorted it. I'm going to make a new one for spotlights. It'll be easy to understand. I'm just going to go with this tutorial. There's going to be some differences from the tutorial and the actual setup. The actual setup is going to be much easier for you guys because I love you guys. But if we turn on the car, brake lights. We have turn signals, reverse lights, all the way around. Press K, and pop-ups. Press L, turn on. Ignore how that's gonna go away. Now press J, no, it's now turn. And now Now, once you're all done, you can adjust your spotlights by going into your plugins folder. You go down to Epic Spotlights right here, and just go into your configurations. This is where you can enable plate lights, because I'm running a plate, right? I have plate lights. You can enable it. You can enable it here. You don't have to enable this other stuff. At least you shouldn't. Here you can actually adjust the actual like brightness setting. and that's like for these the blue arrows, like how the light projects out, and then under it is the spotlight settings. So my fog light's gonna be 30 instead of 40. We set everything to 40 just so we can see, but in reality it's gonna be like way less because this is what it looks like. If you're running lights, you can set it to true here, and if you want to run them on when your car turns on, you can set it here. You can change the type of light. So we have like warm lights, which is there are the incandescent, and then we have the LED lights. Can change that all here. You can do sequential indicators. You can set your pop-up headlights. And you can set the angle that it travels. I don't know how this angle is exactly calculated. I have it at -1 and it works fine. It travels about like 45-ish degrees at -1. You guys can play around with that until you find an area that you like. You may also have to move the hinge around until you find an area that you like. I usually just leave this on single. Some people put it on double. I don't. I've never used double. And here's just some of the other colors that you can use. Then yeah, down here, we can just set the colors that are projected out of our spotlights. Right, we can project our incandescent lights or whatever you want. Then at the very bottom is your keybinds. And there's a random line there. But anyways, yeah, that's basically it. If you want to change keybinds, just change the very last letter. Make sure it's capitalized. Yeah, it's really simple. Now everything's working the correct way. Everything's nice. There's no more issues. I don't have to bitch at people. Life is good. Life is good. Life is very good now. Anyways, that is the VG headlight tutorial. I'm not doing special mesh in this tutorial just because this is super long. I'll release another tutorial talking about special mesh headlights and how you can combine them. And that's it for this video. I hate my life. I don't want to do this anymore. I've been sitting on this same car for an hour doing fucking headlights. I'm gonna crash out, and I'm gonna spend like 2 hours editing this video. I hate you all, but I love you all. You guys are amazing. Thank you for all the support. More tutorials in the future.